Welcome back to the Snowpointcast. Today we're going to be talking about a deck from 2009 called Speedrill. Speedrill got first place at the World Championships in the Masters Division in 2009. A player named Steven Silvestro got first with it. Really powerful deck, but let's get right into it. So starting off with 4 Weedle. Weedle's got 50 HP, a single retreat, and a weakness to fire. Call for family for 1 is actually really good. Both the attacks on this Pokemon are actually really decent. So the first one, for 1 color, search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it on your bench, shuffle your deck afterward. So this is great for finding a Baltoy if you got like a Claydol in your hand, or another Weedle if you want to start getting some Beedrills out and start attacking. Just a really solid attack. And the second attack for 1 grass, string shot, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon's now paralyzed. So you have a paralyzed attack and a call for family attack on this Pokemon. So really solid. And I think that that's like part of the reason this deck is a little more consistent is because you have that call for family. Any like stage 2 deck that has like Prevo lines that search for Pokemon have been good throughout the years. Like Nidoqueen in 2006 has that on both of the Pokemon, and it got top 4. Like really solid to have call for family type attacks on your Pokemon. Okay, so you play 4 Kakuna as well. 80 HP, 2 retreat, and a weakness to fire. Stiffen for free. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done to Kakuna by attacks is reduced by 30. So that's a really good attack for free. And then Spit Poison for 1 grass does 10, and then the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. I actually had a situation that I was playing this game where I was playing against Gengar, and I hit them for 90 with the Beedrill, and they didn't have a Nidoqueen out yet. And then I was like, I can actually just Spit Poison this next turn and kill it. And I did, and it felt really nice. So kind of a cool play. You could do a Spit Poison there. And then getting to the Beedrills. So you play 2 Flutterwings Beedrill. It's got 110 HP, single retreat, and a weakness to fire. Flutter Wings is the power, really solid power. Once during your turn before you attack, you can search your deck for a grass Pokemon, show it to your opponent, and then shuffle your deck, put it in your hand. So this is great for fighting your Beedrills. The other main attacker in this deck is a Beedrill, and it attacks based off your Beedrills in play. So Flutter Wings has a lot of synergy with that, being able to play some separate Beedrills that support the main attacker line as like by being a Beedrill, but also by having a power that searches for Beedrills, and Beedrill line is really solid. Needle Shock is okay. I guess there's some niche uses for it, but it's pretty rare that you use this. So 30 does 30, and then the defending Pokemon is paralyzed and poisoned. Ignore this effect if any of your Pokemon used Needle Shock during your last turn. So you can't chain paralyze, but there are some situations where you have to get this Beedrill out and then you have to attach to it. You only play 6 energy, so it's a pretty heavy investment, but the paralyzed can sometimes be worth the payoff. And then you play 2 of these Beedrills. So this Beedrill's your main attacker. It's got 110 HP, free retreat, which is really nice, and a weakness to fire. Band attack is the only attack that you really use with this Pokemon. So for 1 grass, it does 30 damage times the number of Beedrill in play. So if you get 4 Beedrill out, you can be doing 120 for 1, which is pretty crazy. 120 for 1 is like a really solid exchange for energy to damage. And you play a 4/4/4 just so you can get those Beedrill out. You also play a ton of Pokemon recovery just because finding those Beedrills is the way that you really win the game. If you can get like 4 Beedrills on the field within the first couple turns and then just start attacking with Band Attack, that can be too much pressure for a lot of decks to take on. And it's like a really solid strategy just to swarm with Beedrills, no pun intended. Actually, maybe a little bit of pun intended. And then just attack with Band Attack a bunch. So really solid card. You do play a Claydol line as well. So you play a 2/3 line. It's kind of funky, but we'll talk about the 2/3 when we get to the Claydol. So it's got 50 HP, single retreat, Baltoy does, and then a weakness to grass. Psychic Balance is the attack that you play this for instead of the Psychic one. So if you have less cards in your hand than your opponent, you can draw until you match them. So definitely decent if you have like an Energy and a Baltoy and nothing else. You can just hopefully draw some cards and draw into something. But you do play that for the Claydol. So you play a 2/3 line. So the 2/3 line I think is kind of interesting. I think that the reason that Steven played the 2/3 is just because you can find the Baltoy a little bit easier than you can find the Claydol. You have Roseanne's Research to find the Baltoy. You have Bebe Search to find the Baltoy. And Luxury Ball. But for the Claydol, you only have Bebe Search and Luxury Ball. So finding the Baltoy is a touch easier than finding the Claydol. And playing the thicker line just means that you can draw into it, which is actually really nice when you can just raw draw into the Claydol and not have to worry about spending a Bebe Search to find the Claydol, because then you can use that to invest in like a Beedrill and then start getting set up or something. Okay, so you do play 1 Chatot as well. Chatot's got 60 HP, free retreat, a resistance to fighting, and a weakness to lightning. So the first attack, Mimic for free. Shuffle your hand to your deck, and then draw a number of cards equal to the number of cards in your opponent's hand. So there are pretty big hands in this format, especially Gyarados has some pretty large hands. So being able to copy that and then find all your pieces to your combo to get all your Beedrills into play was really good, especially when you just like don't have anything. Chucking a Chatot active and then mimicking until you can find something is really, really solid. And then Chatter is also decent as well. So for 2 colors, you do 20. And defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Definitely good in some situations for sure. You can play an Azelf as well. So Azelf's got 70 HP, a single retreat, and a weakness to Psychic. Time Walk is the reason you play this card. So when you bench Azelf, you can search your prizes for a Pokemon, and then reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and then switch a card from your hand with that card from your prizes with that Pokemon. Really good for getting your Beedrills back. I mean, if you prize a Beedrill, you're capped at 90 instead of 120. And a lot of the stage 2s have like 110, 120 HP. So being able to one-shot a stage 2 is really, really clutch, and two-shotting is really not what this deck is about. So recovering your Beedrill from the prizes can be really, really important with Azelf. You can play a Crobat as well. So Crobat's got 80 HP, free retreat, a resistance to fighting, and a weakness to lightning. So Flash Bite is the power on this Pokemon. When you bench Crobat, you can drop a damage counter somewhere on your opponent's field. So really good for like helping you hit those numbers. If you are versus like 130 HP Pokemon, like a Gyarados or something, you can just pop it for 1 and then band attack for the knockout with the Beedrill. And it just like helps you get there with a couple Pokemon. There's a couple Pokemon, especially like level X Pokemon, that have just like a little bit too much HP to one shot with Beedrill, and Crobat and a Poketurn lets you get there for a lot of them. Okay, so then you also play a 1/1 Luxray line. Kind of a spicy tech in this list. I do like it. So 80 HP, single retreat, a resistance to metal, and a weakness to fighting. I'm not going to talk about the attacks because you literally never attack with the basic. You do sometimes attack with the stage or the level X, but like never with the basic. Bite, 2 colors for 30. Sometimes you do that, but very rarely. But you do attack with the level X. So level X has got 110 HP, free retreat, a resistance to metal, and a weakness to fighting. Bright Look is the power on this Pokemon. So when you level exit, you get to choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon if you want and bring it active. So that can be really, really solid for taking out whatever your opponent is investing energy in, or if they have a Claydol that they're relying on to draw, you can just bring the Claydol up and kill it. And the nice part about this is you don't really have to have like a full board to hurt your opponent's board a lot. Like you can have 3 Beedrills in play, like you could be missing a Beedrill, bring up a Claydol, hit it for 90, and then kill it. You don't have a full board yet, but you still decimated your opponent's board. So really, really solid part about Luxray. And then you can also attack with Luxray. So for a lightning and a colorless, it does 60, and then you do 30 damage to one of your Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance. So Flash Impact can be really good. You do play some multi-energies and some lightnings and an energy gain just so you can get that attack off. Being able to attack for lightning weakness against some Pokemon can be really clutch. And even just having an attacker in general that's, like, say you need one more prize, you can just Bright Look a basic Pokemon and then Flash Impact it for the game. And you also play 2 Unown G. So Unown G is a really cool card. 50 HP, single retreat, and a weakness to Psychic. Guard is the power on this card. So, okay. So let's put this guy up. And let's say we have a Guard on the bench. And then let's say we have a Weedle and my opponent's active as well. Okay. So, if I want to attach Unown G, I just say I'm going to activate Guard, and then I activate G as a Pokemon tool. It becomes a Pokemon tool instead of a Pokemon, and then I attach to one of the Pokemon. So as long as Guard is attached to a Pokemon, that Pokemon is not affected by any effects of attack. So if that Weedle were to use String Shot, flip a coin if heads, defending Pokemon is paralyzed. If they flip a heads and I have a Guard attached, doesn't matter. I'm not paralyzed because it stops the effects of attack. So really clutch against some things. I mean, you don't play it for Weedle. It's not a Weedle tech. It's more against Gengar. Mother Gar is a really solid deck in this format, and Gengar's Shadow Room can do a lot of damage to your Claydols or your Beedrills. I mean, they just two-shot your Beedrills, and you really can't afford that. So kind of a clutch play. Trevor Reed actually showed me this play, a buddy of mine. He showed me this play. I was literally playing him, and he had this Beedrill out. And I was playing Gengar, and I Shadow Room the Beedrill, so I hit it for 60, and then I just like left it at 60, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna kill it next turn. And he went bench Guard, use Guard, and then he put it on the Beedrill that I had already attacked, and essentially wasted my Shadow Room because I can't attack it again with Shadow Room because of the Unown G. And like the damage there doesn't matter anymore because I don't have a way of killing it anymore because of the Unown G. So really kind of a cool play there that you can do with Unown G. And there are some other uses for it as well. It's really clutch against Flygon variants. Flygon can be pretty tough for sure. And having an Unown G so you can stop Sand Trap or Sand Tomb or Inviting Trap is both really, really solid for sure. Okay, so getting into some of the trainers, you play 4 Rare Candy. So Rare Candy is pretty staple in every stage 2 deck. Really, really solid. You can pretty much just skip the middle evolution. So you can just go Weedle, Rare Candy, Beedrill. Or if you want, you can just Rare Candy into a Claydol. So you can go Rare Candy from Baltoy to Claydol on your second turn if you're going first, or first turn if you're going second, rather. You can just Candy into a Claydol and then start drawing a ton of cards. And it's really good at just being aggressive. As soon as you can get your Beedrills into play, you can hit for massive damage. So Rare Candy is, I mean, getting your Beedrills out is kind of the point of the deck. So Rare Candy definitely helps out a lot with that. You also play 4 Night Maintenance. So Night Maintenance is a really solid card in this deck. Search your discard pile for up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards, show them to your opponent, and then shuffle them into your deck. So it's really good. Like, you get a Beedrill knocked out, you can just shuffle the line back in and then hopefully search it out with Flutter Wings in the same turn. It's really clutch if you can find a Rare Candy too, because you can just go, let's say you have a Beedrill or Candy in your hand, and a Night Maintenance after a Beedrill gets knocked out. You can go Night Maintenance, Flutter Wings, find the Weedle, Rare Candy into Beedrill. So, and then you're all of a sudden you're attacking for 120 again. And 4, you need 4 because you need to use these on Beedrill all the time, because you need Beedrill in play to be attacking for lots of damage. And your Beedrills do get knocked out. I mean, 110 is not a ton of HP, so they do die, and recovering them is a really, really important part of this deck as well. Okay, so you play 4 Poketurn as well. So a couple reasons you play Poketurn. The first one is so you can hit, like what I was saying before with Crobat, where you can just go like Crobat, Poketurn, and then hit for 2 damage counter drop somewhere if you're short on a knockout. It's also really good at picking up a Luxray if you need a bright look for a game. Like if your opponent is just throwing big level X stage 2s at you and you're like, I just don't want to deal with that, I'm going to bright look something else on the bench that I can kill for a lot easier, and then kill that. So Poketurn lets you do that. Really, really solid card as well at doing what it does. You do play 2 Warp Point as well. Kind of sticking with that, bright look theme is if your opponent has something in the active that you're like, wow, I just really can't knock this out, but I want to take a prize this turn. You can Warp Point them, and then hopefully they have like an Uxie or an Azelf or like a Claydol or something on the bench that has lower HP that you can just knock out when you don't have a knockout on the active. And then you play 1 SP Radar. You play a couple SP, one of them's a tool, one of them's the SP Radar. And 4 Poketurn, just because you play Cyrus Conspiracy, which can search for these. And there are some situations where, you just need to find a Crobat or a Luxray or a Luxray level X. And you just play 1 just because there are those situations where you have a Cyrus Conspiracy and you're just like, well, I kind of really want to get a Pokemon with this. And then you also play an Energy Gain. This is another one of those SP tool techs. So Energy Gain, when it's attached to your SP Pokemon that pay 1 colorless less to attack. So really solid on a Luxray. I mean, you can attack with Crobat as well if you need to. Toxic Fang is kind of a decent attack we didn't talk about. You do play multi-energy, so you can do that. The defending Pokemon is now poisoned, but 2 damage counters instead of 1 on the defending Pokemon in between turns. So you can attack with that as well. There are some good situations where you need to poison your opponent. But it is also there so you can attack with Luxray level X for a game. Like if you just need to bring up like a basic Pokemon and then Flash Impact for the knockout. You can do that all with a Cyrus. You can Cyrus for the energy gain, the lightning energy, and then like something else. And if you already have the Luxray level X, then you just boom, energy gain, energy, bright look, and then you just win the game pretty much. And you also play 1 Luxury Ball. So Luxury Ball is an amazing card, super staple in like almost every deck in this format. Search your deck for a Pokemon, excluding Pokemon level X, show it to your opponent, and then put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. So you only play 1 because if you have a Luxury Ball in your discard, you can't play a Luxury Ball. So you just play the ones that you can have that utility, but not have to worry about dead cards in your deck. And it's just really great. Finding a Pokemon is awesome. Being able to find a Claydol or a Baltoy or literally just anything you need at any point in the game is really, really solid. You play 2 Broken Time Space as well. So Broken Time Space is literally broken. It just lets you evolve as many times as you want during your turn. So that's great because you do attack based off your Beedrills. So getting Pokemon into play is pretty important. So just being, and especially with the 4/4/4 line, it just means that like if you have the raw Weedle, Kakuna, Beedrill in your hand in a Broken Time Space, you can just play the Broken Time Space and then and then Flutter Wings, and then all of a sudden you're setting up on your first or second turn. So really, really solid card in this deck. You also play 4 Roseanne's Research. So Roseanne's is pretty staple. Search your deck for up to 2 in any combination of basic Pokemon and basic energy cards. Show them to your opponent and then put them in your hand. So this is just a really solid card in this format. Every deck plays this card. It's so good. Finding basic energy, especially when you play so little, just being able to search them from the deck with this card is really, really great. And then finding basics as well. I mean, you need to get Weedles into play to find Beedrills and Baltoys for Claydols, etc. So just really, really good card. You play 3 Bebe Search as well. So Bebe Search says choose a card from your hand, put it on the top of your deck, and then search your deck for a Pokemon and put it in your hand. So this can find your Luxray level X's as well. but it's just good at finding any Pokemon. I mean, finding your evolution Pokemon is pretty important. As soon as you're able to get this Flutterwings Beedrill into play, like you can actually start setting up your board, even if you have nothing else. So finding that Flutterwings first is definitely the best strategy, and I would recommend doing that because it's really, really solid to get a Flutterwings Beedrill out. Okay, so you do play 2 Cyrus Conspiracy as well. So Cyrus Conspiracy, search your deck for a supporter card, a basic energy card, and a trainer card that has Team Galactic's invention in its name. Show them to your opponent, put them in your hand. So that can get your stuff like this, or your Poketurns like your Energy Gain and your SP Radar. They can also get your basic energy and another supporter for the next turn. So you play 2 just because you do play a fair amount of SP stuff in this deck. So playing 2 to be able to get those SP stuff is good. And also having more basic energy search is pretty solid as well, just because you don't play a ton of energy in this deck either. Okay, so you do play 2 Cynthia's Feelings as well. So Cynthia's Feelings is a solid card. Shuffle your deck and then draw 4. If your opponent knocked out one of your Pokemon during their last turn, you draw 4 more. So you shuffle draw 8, which is significantly more than shuffle drawing 6. And it just lets you hit those Beedrill combos, right? Like if you need to find a Night Maintenance to get that Beedrill back, or like a Night Maintenance and a Rare Camdu or something, then you can just like hit that, hopefully hit whatever else that you need off of the Claydol, and then have just a really big draw turn after you get knocked out. Okay, so getting into the energy line, you play 3 grass. Seems really low, but you also only attack for 1 energy, and you play 4 night maintenance. So being able to recover those grass is really important. But also, like, you only need 1 to attack, so it's not that big of a deal. And you're only really attacking with this Beedrill. So like having a single energy cost, and you also play 2 multi-energies as well. It's not that crazy. I mean, you play 5 outs to be able to attack with Beedrill and a ton of grass energy recovery, so it's definitely super fine. But multi is really clutch too, because you can attack with Crobat with multi energy, or a Luxray, or even an Unown G. I didn't even talk about this, but Unown G's hidden power for a Psychic into colors does 50, and then if it has any damage counters on it, does 10. So that can donk a ton of stuff. Like every stage 2 in the format has 50 HP on the basic. It's like pretty much every single one. The Weedle, like Flygon's, Trapinch, everyone. And the Baltoy too has 50 HP. So you have that option to donk, because that can be the Psychic if you are in that situation where you're like, well, I just really want to donk here. And then you play 1 Lightning as well, just so you can search it with the Cyrus Conspiracy and the Roseanne's Research, so that you can attack with the Luxray. Okay, well, this has been Speedrill. If you have any questions about the deck, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get to them. But thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.